There's not too many people using FTP from the command line anymore, although you could, and it's relatively simple once you know the ropes, so to speak. But using a graphical client for FTP is a lot easier because there's a lot less to type. You can do just about everything from just simple point and click interface. Arguably, the best FTP client that exists is FileZilla. This is the latest version 3.5.1, and it basically runs on everything. It doesn't matter what platform you're using, Linux, Mac, or Windows, FileZilla will work. And it's most likely true that the majority of the time with FileZilla, what you want to do is download a file, not necessarily upload a file. When people want to share files these days, they use a service like Dropbox or maybe SkyDrive or something like that. But for web hosting and things like that, that doesn't do ordinarily doesn't do cloud-based file transfers like that. So you're going to use FTP, or if you're just going to download something from a public FTP server, the browser or using one of these, or using FileZilla is the best way to do it. So I will give an example of how we'll download something using the manual method, as in typing it out manually, and then using it via a shortcut from the site manager. So, but we'll use the manual way first. So let's just say I wanted to download the latest version of Firefox. You can get that by connecting directly to Mozilla's FTP server and just grabbing the file that way, the binary installer. So the host would be ftp.mozilla.org. The username is anonymous, and that is default, by the way, for just about every public FTP server that exists. When you log into a public FTP server with a browser, it automatically inserts anonymous as the username. But when you're doing it manually like this, you actually have to type in the username as anonymous in order to get through. Now, the password can be any email address. It's an anonymous login, so it can be your email address if you want to. Don't know why you do that, but you could. You can just make up one out of thin air, like abc@123.com. It'll work. You can leave the port blank, but I don't suggest doing that and just leaving, and putting it as port 21, which is the default port for public FTP servers, and then we quick connect, and it goes right through. Now, in order to get the Firefox browser, we first go to pub, which means public. That's the public directory. And then we look for Firefox. This will be in alphabetical order, so we go to Firefox, and then now you can get the nightly here, but we'll just assume you wanted to get the current release. So we'll go to releases, and then scroll all the way to the bottom of the list, because you'll notice that every single version of Firefox, even when it was, ever since version 0.8 is here. That'd be interesting to see if that ran in Windows 7. I doubt it, though. Anyway, way down here at the bottom, the ones with the little arrows, which are shortcut directories, or redirect directories, I should say, latest dash 6.0, which will automatically go to where we need to go to, which is 602. So again, remember, when in the releases directory, just grab this, go all the way to the bottom, and just look for the latest version. 6.0 goes where you need to go. Now, on the Windows platform, that would be Win32. Why not 64? Because version 6 doesn't have a 64-bit edition for the Windows platform. It is rumored, although not exactly confirmed yet, that Firefox will have a 64-bit edition eventually. I don't think it will be in version 7, but possibly 8 or 9. I guess we'll see. So anyway, we go into the Win32 directory, and will it run on a 64-bit platform? Of course it will. So anyway, Win32. And now we have to pick our localization. Now in the United States, this is EN-US. GB is Great Britain. And then you see other countries like France. And I was trying to see if I recognize any other ones off the top. I don't remember. I'm not good at country codes. But I do know EN-US, which is the United States. And we have our file. Now, there are a couple ways that we can download this. Actually, more than a couple. We can either double-click and download it. You can take this click and drag outside of the client, and it will download. Like if you want to drag it right in the desktop, it'll do it. As a matter of fact, that is the method I'll show. So if I take this file, drag out here, you notice how it's a plus sign? I just drag, And now it is downloading, and if I bring this back into view, you'll see that it is currently downloading Firefox 602. And if my calculations are correct, you'll see a pop-up right where I dropped it. Okay, it didn't pop up exactly where I dropped it, but it put it on the desktop, and there it is. Now the nice thing, let me just put this back into view here. Okay, now the nice thing about FileZilla, now you'll notice that it kicked me off. That's normal. Mozilla will hold a connection for something like, unless you're downloading, if you're just idling there for something like 60 or 90 seconds, it'll kick you off. That's okay, because if you're in FileZilla and if I want to go back up a folder, for example, it just automatically logs back in, as you saw right there. And that's the way to do that. Now, if you wanted to do this kind of sort of the same way with the site manager, we can do this by hitting this icon over here. And I'll put in new site, and I'll call it Mozilla. I'll put in the host, ftp.mozilla.org, port 21. We're using FTP, not secure FTP, because I don't believe the Mozilla server supports that. Plain FTP encryption, because it's a public server. We're not doing anything sensitive. We're just downloading a browser. Login type anonymous. Now this is nice, because at this point it will just do the anonymous thing. It will do it for you. You don't have to worry about it. Now, as far as advanced, now you could specify a default local directory, such as a download directory or something like that, but we don't have to do that. And but you may want to set the default remote directory, so that would be /pub/Firefox. I'll do this as an example. I know that /pub/Firefox is where I would ordinarily want to go. So I will put the default remote directory as /pub/Firefox, which means that on connect, it will automatically change to that folder. Cool. Transfer setting, we can leave this as default, and a character set, we don't have to touch that. And essentially, at this point, we are done. So I can hit OK. Now, I could have hit connect from that point, but I didn't, just so I could come back here and show you that I can go in here and just double click. I'm already connected, so I'm going to abort this current connection and connect right here. It connected, and notice it changed to /pub/Firefox. Now if I said, okay, well I would actually want it to go into the releases folder. So I will go here, highlight this, right click, copy, go into my site manager, and I don't have to click an edit button or anything. I can just highlight wherever I'm on, and you can edit it from here. So I'll go to advanced and change this and paste that in here, so it will automatically dump me into Firefox releases. Okay. And then I'll go back in the site manager, abort, and come back in here, and it went right through. And now by default it will go into releases. And that's pretty much it. There really isn't much more to say about FileZilla. It's just an FTP client. It is free. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. This is free software. You don't have to pay for it or anything like that. It's useful if you do website stuff, if you want to download Firefox in, I believe, one of the fastest ways possible, even faster than torrent. FTP, because the traffic is so low on FTP these days, that you can really race back and forth between file transfers and everything. And pretty much FileZilla, there's really nothing better than FileZilla, at least not that I've seen. I've seen Qt FTP, I've seen other clients over the years, but FileZilla is the only one, at least I know of, that really, it works on all the platforms. It works exactly the same on all the platforms, and I have never seen it crash. I have never seen it give me any grief. It's solid software. So if you do FTP, FileZilla is definitely the way to go.